Hi there, and welcome to Blinkstop. Blinkstop is a relatively simple module at its premise. There are 4 buttons, 3 of which have numbers and 1 of which is blank for the submit button. And the only other thing of note on the module is the status light, which has one of 4 states: purple, cyan, yellow, or multicolored, as you'll see in a second here. There's a multicolored flash. You see it just cycles briefly through a rainbow-like pattern. All that the module requires is to count the number of times the status light shines before it has a long pause. There's a long pause right there. You see that it goes off, almost like a space in Morse. Then Blinkstop will give a random sequence of somewhere between 30 and 59 flashes. It will always land on one of these values, however, so you need to record how many flashes there are, and then also the least flashed color. These two together will give you a value, which then you can enter on this little keypad right here and press the blank button to submit. Do note that this module is kind of finicky, and that you have to record the sequence down, and then you have one full sequence to get all these numbers in, and also figure out how many flashes in the least flashed. And if you're too slow, and you've selected at least one button already, you can select the blank button exactly when the status light pauses on the long input to clear it. If you record an incorrect sequence, then it will strike, and it will submit right after the long pause when you're clicking on the sequence. So let's try one now. Here's a reset. My strategy for this is writing down rather arbitrarily the numbers, just in the order that they appear on the table. And then what I'll do at the end is count the number of total flashes, but also the number of each individual flash using Sublime, because Sublime has a very nice search function. Oops, that sequence went off the rails a little bit. Let's try again. It's hard to talk and do this at the same time, so I will be quiet and record my sequence. Great, so now that we've done that, I'll look at the total characters here, and I have 47. At the bottom here, you see there's 47 selected. Now I'll use the find function here, and I can search for 1. I have 14, 2 I have 16, 3 I have 7, and 4 I have 10. This means that yellow was the least flashed color, so I'll input this sequence of 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2. There we go. So that's Blinkstop. The one caution I have for you is that if you tried to submit a sequence too quickly, it might eat an input, so just give a little bit of a space between each input. This does mean that you have a little less time because you can't rush the input on Blinkstop. But that's just part of the quirky nature of the module, I guess. We'll do an example. Again, here's the long pause. Then you'll see purple 1, cyan 2, yellow 3, multicolor is denoted by 4, just like they are in the table. And then I'll take how many of each color are present. If you don't have an application like Sublime Text or similar that will count the flashes for you, you can absolutely do it by hand. It's just a little slower, and because there's a possibility that you might get a shorter sequence to actually input a longer sequence on, like here, I prefer to, in general, use a search feature of sorts. So we'll look 10, 2, 8, 9, so cyan was the least common flashed for here. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3. Submit. And we'll do one more. But I feel like you get the premise pretty well. Here's the long pause. Multi, purple, cyan, yellow. And of course, if you're giving this out as a call, a little easier than trying to EFM it, because you don't have to have your eyes two places at once, as it were. Like a chameleon, trying to look down at the screen and everywhere else. What I'm doing right now is staring at the status light, and then I remember which colors are denoted by what. And as long as you're consistent with your method, it doesn't really much matter what you denote them by. It could be anything you like. Here we are. Close out of that. 42 selected. And we will find 1, 12, 11, 10, 9. Least flash was the multicolor. 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1. I know this sequence is correct. You know this sequence is correct. Let's say that I put a 3 at the end of it. And I know I can't submit it, because if I submit it, I'll get a strike. So what I'll do is wait till the status light has a long pause, and then instead of submitting, you'll see that this resets the sequence. So now there's nothing entered for the module. And you can start a new sequence. Very important if you are too slow, or you realize that you're inputting something and there's a 2 suddenly and it started the next sequence. You need to stop. Just don't even worry about it. Just wait till it shows the blank status light and cancel it out. That's about it for Blinkstop. It's a fun module, although it's pretty time sensitive and can be a little frustrating if you don't have a good way of counting the flashes and least flashed colors. But hopefully my techniques have helped you at least some. And I hope that with my tutorial you'll understand Blinkstop just a little bit better.